This book, our Constitution, protects our society and empowers us to govern. The Protea leaves are us, the people, who freely elect our voices in Parliament. The drum calls the people of Parliament, through whom we govern together. And the sun is our country, healing our past, improving our lives, and energizing our potential. Together, our Constitution, our people, our Parliament, and our country are building our great South African nation. Parliament TV, Channel 408 on DSTV.
Welcome to Parliament TV right here on DSTV channel 408. We are live from Parliament TV studios here in Cape Town. I am Tepo Mori. You can join the conversation and engage in our discussions on all social media platforms at Parliament of RSA. Of course, Parliament plays a fundamental role in upholding South Africa's democracy. As the legislative arm of government, Parliament is responsible for representing the people, passing laws and overseeing the executive. A key mechanism for this is oversight work of committees, which is tasked with scrutinizing government departments, processing legislation, and investigating matters of public interest. Today, we are honored to have the chairperson of the Portfolio Committee on Mineral and Petroleum Resources, Mr. Mikateko Mahlaule, as we explore the critical role of parliamentary committees in ensuring government accountability. Now, in our conversation with the chairperson today, we will discuss how the committee aligns its work with Parliament's broader oversight role, its approach to legislative processes, and its impact on addressing critical challenges within the sector. Now, before that, let's get to know the chairperson a little better. Stay tuned.
My name is Mahlaule. I'm the chair of the Portfolio Committee on Mineral and Petroleum Resources. It's a new committee. Well, we looked at the, first and foremost, the legacy report. We lifted up issues there. Three of the priorities will be to make sure that big companies, big mining companies, adhere to the rules of the game when it comes to social labor plans. Communities must benefit from what is mined in their communities, and not only big companies mining and then they leave. So we will focus into that. The second issue that we will focus into, which we have registered some success, is illegal mining. We try and make people to be involved, but also through public participation when we have a bill. For instance, we make sure that we involve everybody, yes, and we ourselves know what the bill entails and what, and we're unbiased, because at the end of the day, we must take the inputs that come from them, but guide, yes, so that the outcome of the bill becomes a very good bill for everybody.
That was Mr. Mikateko Mahlaule, the chairperson of the Portfolio Committee on Mineral and Petroleum Resources. The chair joins us in studio. Chair, thank you so much for making the time.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon to your viewers.
Chair, let's start with talking about the work of the committee. Let's talk about one of the key functions, which is to oversee the work of the Department of Mineral Resources and Energy. How does the committee then ensure that the department and its entities fulfill their mandate?
Let me take you back to the introduction.
Absolutely.
Last time we spoke, I outlined what we are going to be focusing on. And I outlined guided by what? So there was a legacy report that was done by the 6th Parliament Portfolio Committee. It highlighted certain issues that needed to be lifted up, and I believe we're lifting them up. One of them, obviously, would be the illegal mining issue.
Yes.
Which, by the way, we had lifted from the 5th Parliament. The reason we dealt with in the 6th Parliament was because the legacy report spoke about it in the 5th Parliament. So that's one issue we are dealing with. But like I said, the social labor plans are very important to us because as and when you see this uprising in mining, is because big companies, like I said, are not adhering to those social labor plans. So people are not benefiting directly from the proceeds of what big companies are mining. We also, from the petroleum side, because we are two-pronged,
Yes.
there has been a serious attack on the department and big companies by faceless NGOs who are funded from overseas. We don't know their funders. So in every country, if you want to prosper in terms of energy, your oil, your gas, you need to explore, you need to do exploration. And it came apparent to us that from the global expenditure share,
Yes.
we were at 5% at some point. Now we're at 1%, meaning exploration has gone down. And a country that does not do exploration, does not discover new minerals.
Of course.
That's why you won't have new mines. Nothing will happen from there. But also, on the petroleum side, we are very excited that the department is creating what we call new national petroleum company, which will be amalgamating what we call strategic fuel fund, iGas, as well as Petro SA into one company that will represent the state. And in the bill that the president has just signed, the upstream petroleum resource development bill, that company will be responsible to carry 20% on behalf of the state. That's huge when you speak about that sector. So
Yes.
those are some of the issues that we are dealing with at the moment. But we got interested, funny enough, about how mines are not treating women's issues in mining. You would take it lightly that an overall that a woman takes to underground is enough.
Absolutely.
Without looking at how a man and a female will be relieving themselves underground. I'll unpack those issues when we talk about illegal mining and all of, because they are linked to illegal mining. You'll be shocked to hear that miners are no longer allowed to go underground with food.
Yes.
And there's a reason for that. And when we talk about these illegal minings, I'll talk about it because they were aiding Zama's underground.
Of course.
But in short, those are the things we are seized with in the committee.
Of course, Chair, I'm familiar with these things. I'm from a mining town in Valcom, so I'm familiar with some of the issues. Let's talk more about some of the achievements that the 7th administration has achieved thus far, whether it's with regards to oversight, whether it's you spoke about a bill that has been signed into law. What are the achievements of the committee thus far?
Well, I don't want to take away anything from the 6th administration because we dealt with the electricity regulation amendment bill. Now it's law. It has been signed by the president. The upstream petroleum has been signed. Now we have in Parliament, we are going to be receiving
Mine Health and Safety Amendment Bill. Okay. It's very important to the issues I was talking about. We'll be seized with that bill in the 7th Parliament. But the Petroleum Product Act or bill at the moment is coming as well. We will be dealing with. But also the National Petroleum, South African National Petroleum bill will be coming to us. We're still going to ask Parliament for a legal opinion, whether we should go again and do public hearings on that one, because the upstream petroleum bill enables this company to be established. So we have dealt with the public hearings around that. Whether we should continue and deal with public hearings again is another matter that we want to source from the parliamentary legal services. But just quickly to what we have achieved. Secondly, we managed to meet almost every stakeholder you can think about on our first week of the program. We met almost everybody, unions, and those who did not come, we allowed them to come. By the way, I'm the only chair, other chairs will correct me, who every Wednesday meet with stakeholders without fail. Anyone who writes is responded to and allocated a Wednesday where I meet with stakeholders and we deal with issues that they raise. I've met Rio Tinto as a company, I've met De Beers, I've met Sasol, I've met Engine, I've met the oil and gas industry. I've extended an invitation to Makua Wamua because they were aggrieved about how they were treated in the 6th administration, and I said, let them come, we'll deal with them differently. I've met the traditional leaders, and I will meet more of them. So we focused on capacitating new members to understand what the sector is all about. I'm fortunate with Honorable Lorima and Honorable Zungula to have been in the 6th Parliament. So the others, I thought it would be unfair to just go right through it and without taking them along. So we were busy trying to get everybody going. By the way, I organized the course for them with the Vets Institute to deal with mining issues. We are going to have a workshop next week with the oil and gas industry. But UCT owes us, or we owe them an invitation to come and do a 2-day course on petroleum. The industry itself has taken it upon themselves to organize a 2-day course with the University of Pretoria, which is accredited. So I've spent most of my time investing on equipping new members to understand the sector, including myself, understanding the sector better, so that when we hit the ground running and are confronted by things we otherwise could not know, we know who is the point of reference to contact for clarity and all of that. So in that sector is more involved. You need clarity of thought. You need to pay attention to detail. So we are trying to get on with the program.
And now, Chair, since now your committee is equipped and keeps on getting equipped and uses these resources that are available to ensure that they are capacitated, you have also spoken about the proposed bills that are going to come into Parliament and those that have been signed into law already. How does then the committee ensure that the proposed bills balance economic growth and environmental sustainability and community rights while aligning with South Africa's broader developmental goals?
Well, let me speak about the ones that are coming. The petroleum product bill that will be coming is really to regulate the petroleum industry as a whole. You remember the Upstream Petroleum Resource Development Act now was to separate what was contained in the MPRDA, which was regulating mining and petroleum. So mining must be regulated differently. Petroleum must be regulated differently. So the downstream part of petroleum will be regulated by this. So the environmental part of it will be contained there,
Yes.
but we can't jump the gun and say this is what we would want to see. Of course, we want an environmentally friendly environment in the petroleum sector. But if I say this now and I go to the public hearings and I happen to be channeling them towards a particular direction, I will be accused to be biased. So I rather say the ultimate point
Yes.
to arrive at is to have an environmentally friendly and mutually beneficial. Both industry and the communities benefit from the downstream side of the petroleum industry.
Yeah. And so far,
The mine health and safety bill will cover the issues that I wanted to raise about the abuse of women. You won't believe what happens in a mine. If Tsepo is given the same responsibility with me underground, that of drilling, and we're given time frames to have drilled this particular space, of course the masculinity is not the same. You find that men do it faster, and when they finish, they see a woman struggling. Unlike when you are with a lady, you open a door for them, and then you close it. They are comfortable. There, I ask for sexual favors to finish your work. If you don't offer, it's your problem. You deal with it. So. We found that there are those things that are abusive, and the pollution facilities underground are not conducive for women. I mean, when you have an overall, what do you call those overall jumpsuits?
yes,
It means a woman must strip.
of course.
And there's no privacy underground. I strip, men are here and all of that. You go and help yourself. So the boots that they wear, generally women are built differently to men. So their thighs and their
calves,
yes, are bigger than that of males. But the design is the same, and we are questioning that such things must not happen. But we were very happy with Impala in Northwest. They even have vending machine for sanitary pads.
Oh, wow.
We found that that's transformative, and it's helping so those are the things that we will filter into the mine health and safety bill. So that bill will play a significant role in regulating the Zamazama environment that we don't want. You know, in Lily Mine, we are still sitting with 3 people that we have not recovered. There are things that people don't talk about. The mine doesn't know what happened. And the reason is because, and I'm not going to say this is what happened, but I want to even demonstrate the danger of Zamazamas. So you would go to a mine today, put 4,000 people through a shaft, they work, the pillars are balanced, everything is there, they work and they go out, they go home. Zamazamas come because they know the tunnels,
Yes.
and they are interconnected. They tamper with the pillars, And the 4,000 that went out yesterday come back again, not knowing that the pillars are tampered with. And when it hits down, you never know, because when you left yesterday, it was balanced.
Of course.
And in Lily-Mine, the ground is shaky now. You can't take the container out because the ground is shaky. But who made the ground to be shaky? It's the Zamazama. So I want to demonstrate that the mine health and safety bill will help a lot into that. But also, we want to strengthen the punishment. Well, the point is not to punish, but the punitive measures to big companies who sometimes disregard safety measures. You know, the mining houses, they just comply. They are minimum standard people. If you set the standard to be 2, they don't go beyond 2 to do good, because theirs is to make money. And we want to encourage them to go beyond what is humanly possible to ensure the safety of people underground and on the surface. So those are the things that we are hoping to achieve more or less with these bills.
Now, of course, Chair, you've mentioned quite a few challenges that are within the industry that this bill and these 2 bills now seek to provide solutions for. Can we talk about some of the challenges that the committee faces in terms of trying to do its mandate and ensure that its responsibility is undertaken when it comes to overseeing these entities and in holding them accountable?
Well, entities that report to DMPR, we are not finding any challenges except Alexco. Not that it's a challenge, we don't know it. We have met it once because it's a new entity that is brought to us. But we're finding that the governance issues there are not really intact. But we have had for several years problems in Petro SA. We want to bring Petro SA to its former glory, but it ran out of feedstock. You know, it was created because of that feedstock. It's done now. What do? They must repurpose that Petro SA to do something else that is humanely possible to generate revenue. What is that? You have a discovery of resources in a place called Brupalda. Total has just discovered some products as well. How does Petro SA play a role there? Because the infrastructure they have, if you repurpose it, you can bring Petro SA back to its former glory. So with entities reporting to us, our biggest headache is Petro SA. The rest are performing really well, except that now, with the challenges that are faced with the diamond sector, State Diamond Trader and its regulator are not doing so good. There used to be a billion and over turnover institutions, but globally the diamond industry is not doing very well. But there's something very interesting that we are going to push that it be dealt with, and it's above our pay grade, but we will do it. You know, De Beers, through the Kimberley processes, used to certify the diamonds.
Okay.
To say, if my diamonds are mined, South Africa can certify diamonds and say, these are diamonds, this is the grade, and sell it to the world. Now with the war in Russia and Ukraine, the EU has put sanctions on Russia, which is the largest diamond producer in the world. So our diamonds that we are going to have here must go to Belgium first to be certified in order to come back here and be sold to the world because of that war. So part of what President Cyril Ramaphosa should pay attention to, with South Africa, of course, having assumed presidency of the G20, is that issue that we need to deal with. I mean, the DRC has been, the sanctions have been lifted up by the UN in terms of diamond. They are reasonably the biggest producing diamond in Africa after Botswana and South Africa. So we need to tap on that resource and be able to sell to the world. So yeah, those are the issues that are frustrating now, but we are hoping that we will deal with them. The agility we have will take us there, surely.
Now, as the chair has alluded, South Africa continues to face challenges in the mining and petroleum sectors, including illegal mining and its associated crimes. The role of this committee in ensuring accountability, transparency, and sustainable policy development is more critical than ever. Now, Chair, let's focus now on the issue of illegal mining. Of course, it's widespread. It's throughout all mining towns. And let's talk specifically now about the current standoff that's in Stilfontein in Northwest. You've emphasized before that there's a need to balance the right to life and with the duty of law enforcement to combat crime. How can this balance be achieved in such a complex situation in Stilfontein?
Maybe to get to that point and how I got to that point, let me give a background that I gave you before, but in more detail. So when we lifted the 5th administration issue on Zamazamas in the 6th administration, we went for oversight everywhere, including Stilfontein. So the gold mine Zamazamas and the chrome and coal and platinum are not the same.
Okay.
They don't take the same shape because the gold mine is underground, deep underground, kilometers and kilometers of distance. The chrome platinum is surface. So with the chrome and platinum, that's where you get excavators of people who are not licensed. Mining, taking the resources and all of that. They are illegal only because they are not licensed.
Okay.
They are mining where they are not supposed to. And environmentally, they are not rehabilitating because most of the cases, they also do it next to a house of somebody. So we said it's hazardous. When heavy rains come, people's houses can fall and all of that. If you go to Skukune, you'll get that issue. So that is the issue that we are saying the department must quickly deal with what we call small-scale miners and artisanal miners. It's simple. People must just apply, be allocated spaces if they qualify and all of this. It's easy to deal with that. Now, the elephant in the room, which made us to make recommendations in the 6th administration to say Parliament must ask the President to reinforce the police with soldiers. There was a reason, and people are missing that point. There was a reason is because that sector is more violent than anything else you have seen. So you have people who have mined before, either retrenched or they mined before your 1994, they are retrenched because big companies left South Africa. So they know the They are not rehabilitated, by the way, those mines. And maybe I should come to later on why they are not rehabilitated. So you have a group of people who know the map of the tunnels underground. Most of them are Lesotho nationals, Zimbabwe and Mozambique in the main, as well as Malawi. At that time, I don't know what was the agreement in SADC that mining should be in workers. You know, we had a lot of cooperation in terms of. So the reason why we said reinforce police is because police admitted themselves to us, generals, that we can't deal with these guys on our own. Why? In the police themselves, there are people involved. The intelligence arm of the police is infiltrated. The plans which the police have quickly get to the Zamazamas. So you see those miners I talked about are very experienced. But for them to mine, they must get soldiers, former soldiers of those countries that I mentioned, highly armed, to be protected. So there's security in the mining. So there are two groups. It's the miners, the security. So if when police go there, they are met with high caliber weaponry, which in the main is not found in the police sector. You find it in the army. So it was important for us to recommend that, no, let's bring the army. The intelligence of the army is not the same as the intelligence of the police. It's not easily infiltrated. So we said to Parliament, let's plead with the President to bring such. And then they went and agreed that they must have what is called a net joint, which culminated into an operation called Operation Vala Mugodi, which they are trying to do now. Now, the modus operandi of Zamazamas is that they have some people who bring food. Zamazamas can stay underground for 6 months. That's what people don't know. For 6 months, as long as they have food and water. Batteries for their lights and all of that. So there is somebody who is lucratively benefiting from supplying food to Zamazama. So the points where the police have closed now are the points where these people are taking food underground. I tell you, Tsepo, a loaf of bread underground is around 500 rand. A chocolate bar, which led to workers not being stopped taking food underground. A chocolate bar. They would be given a chocolate bar, go down for nutrition. They would sell it for 1,000 rand. A chocolate bar. There's a lot of money in that industry. And I have not talked about the elephant in the room. The elephant in the room before and now was the kingpins. So part of our recommendation was as well to deal with the kingpins, because the intelligence generated by the police could easily go to kingpins easily, and they inform their people that today they are coming, don't work. You would go and see them as when we go over to oversight, they know we are coming, so they don't bother. They don't work. They sit there, microscope us, no violence, nothing. Some of them, they see you when you come closer, want to interview them, they go underground. You see them walking on a hole and underground. So we said this is beyond the police. The police admitted, and the president signed that the soldiers must go. And the heat is being felt. The screams that you hear are not because people are victimized, in my view. It's because law enforcement agencies are squeezing them. They are squeezing their economy thin. And most of these guys, remember, they don't stay here in South Africa.
Yes.
They are in Dubai somewhere, in Italy. Mostly these countries where you can't extradite them. They stay there, they live in large, but they have people who are running their operations here, who are bribing our police. And soldiers are not easy to bribe. That's why we are where we are. So we ought, the operation ought to close the food chain, because you can't get Zamazamas out if you don't close the food chain, because the only thing that makes them to survive underground is food and water. Once you kill that value chain, they have no choice but to come out. Now, what did the police do that people are not talking about? Police communicated with the underground world that, by the way, when somebody dies underground, the Zamazamas write a letter, they attach to the body, bring them up. You'll see a telephone number. This is Tsepo from Lesotho. Here's the telephone number of the mother or the wife and all of that. So when police come to recover the body, they call that, and then that's how they get the body to Lesotho. The same way, they know how to communicate. Police sent communication down that, guys, we're closing. There won't be food. Can you please come out? We're giving you a time frame. People chose the hard way. Some of them died because they go there sick. They need water, they need food. And that's why we are here. People must come out.
Of course.
Yeah. And there's no other way except not to give them food, because you give them food, you're extending the lifespan. They should have underground. Yeah. It's like going to a bank. You know, I simplify it as this. It's like going to a bank and rob a bank. And with bad luck, you don't have anyone to hold hostage. And then the police come and say, you have 5 minutes, otherwise we are coming in and we are coming to shoot. You say, no, I want food and transport. I want a helicopter and food. Police don't have to bargain with you, because they don't have a life, innocent life to save. You know, you are alone there. They can simply deal with you, and that's law enforcement. And that's what's happening in Stilfontein. But people are angry because wrong words are used. Of course, we'll smoke them out and all of that. But however wrong those words may be, the ultimate meaning of that is that people must come out. Yes, the balance between human rights and law enforcement agencies' work must be ensured. Now, in this case, we want to elevate human rights over the right of police to enforce the law. There must be a balance. You must allow police to do their work. Yes, you must give them water, you must give them... but negotiations can't be endless. Even Lobola negotiations are not forever. You know, there's a time where there's a deadlock, and then you part ways.
Of course.
Or you agree. So it can't be endless.
Chair, with that, of course, now we spoke about the balancing act between the right to life, human rights of these illegal miners, and then you talk about law enforcement. Now let's speak about the communities that are seized with this issue. Of course, there's a lot of risk that comes with illegal mining, and of course this means that there are broader criminal activities also that are not just happening under, but also above on the surface. What measures has the committee taken or committed to in terms of ensuring the safe rescue of these illegal miners so that they do not pose a threat to the communities that surround them?
Let me go back a bit so that I cover this point you're raising holistically. There was a time where 19 females were raped in the northwest.
I remember that.
By Zamazamas. The country was on fire. What is government doing? What is the police doing? We went there. We dealt with the issue. Those guys were arrested and all of that. The community was happy because they said these guys were terrorizing us in taverns. They were taking our wives, rape them, because there are points where they take you. For that 6 months they are there. You are cooking for them, they are raping you, and then you are lucky to come out. So people must not quickly forget how terrorizing these guys can be, which communities seem to have forgotten. But in Stilfontein, you know, I heard one woman on TV saying, I've been waiting for my husband here for 3 days to surface. I hope he surfaces. The question is, you know that your husband is in criminal activities. How are you different to a guy who dug a hole in his house to enable people to steal copper and electric cables underground from a mine? Yes. I think it's Sibanye Steel mine. How are you different? Because you are an enabler of a crime. So I saw which people can know what to say and what not to say as communities, because they are enabling crime. Look, my view is that law enforcement agencies must do what is humanly possible under the law to get everybody out. The Zamazamas themselves must do what is reasonably within their power to cooperate with law enforcement agencies, because law enforcement agencies, there comes a time where, like I said, there comes a time where the level of operation becomes something else. That day will come. You must know when you are underground and negotiating that these guys, they have a time frame. There will come a time where they are no longer negotiating. By the way, in South Africa, Tsepo, we have the best mine rescue services in the entire world. They are trained here in South Africa, all of them, all around the world. We recently went to, is it Chile, to rescue a lot of people in a fire that no one in the world would have rescued. The only thing that they have failed, and they have not failed because they have failed, is to retrieve the bodies in Lily Mine. And I asked them why. They said the ground is shaky, it's not safe. But everyone who is a mine rescuer in the world is trained here in South Africa. It's in Carltonville. So your question to say how do we ensure that we safely take the bodies out, those guys are highly trained. They know there's no one better than them. But in this case, they go there fearing for their lives as well. So they are not free, unlike when they know that they are rescuing innocent people, they are free. But in this case, they don't know what will happen when they go down. So that negotiation has to have trust that when you send people who are rescuing, because that's the word that is used, who are rescuing you, don't shoot at us. You ask for ARVs, who are bringing ARVs. It's funny as well, that issue, but I won't speak about it. It's not on my purview. You ask for things there, they come. They must get assurance that you are not going to shoot at them. That in that way, even decomposed bodies, they will take their time to tie that properly, you know, so that it's up safe. They will take their time. But if they do that under fear, they may do rush work and then you are not up safe. So the balance between human rights and how the right of police to enforce the law must be there, and we are hoping that in few days, and I don't want to say few months, in few days, that situation will have been resolved, because even people who don't know anything about mining are starting to talk things that are appalling, you know. So to stop this madness, I think the police must just be patient with everybody, and then make sure that everybody is out, and we close the shaft and talk about a different story.
Now, of course, Chair, this issue is not just, it doesn't just focus on Stelfontein. We did say that it's a countrywide issue. Now, you've spoken about the successes of Operation Valumgodi, and you've spoken about the intelligence that is now being used, that has now been resourced, of course, from the army to ensure that we get to the bottom of this, because you did say these are kingpin syndicates that are above all of this. I just wanted to know now that, do you then believe that the legislative and policy frameworks are sufficient to deal with the complexities of illegal mining?
Well, I need to give a background as well of what earlier I said I will speak about. So, Tsepo, before 2004, 1st May, before the MPRDA came into law,
yes,
all the companies that started mining time immemorial, did not have the responsibility to rehabilitate. And they have left. Your Anglo has left, big companies have left. You can't call them and say, come back and rehabilitate. And these are lots of mines. And it's expensive to rehabilitate mines. And the department has been trying to rehabilitate mines. So with the budget that Treasury is giving the department can only rehabilitate 40 mines, around 40 mines per financial year. And these mines that we're talking about are over 4,000. So you can imagine how many years it can take to rehabilitate those mines. On top of that, these zamazamas, when you rehabilitate 40, you must not count 40 that year, because 20 will be reopened by zamazamas. You have to come back and rehabilitate. So it's going 5 steps forward and 2 back. There is a policy that says rehabilitate. I'm coming to, I want to smoothly answer you where the policy is helping and where it's not helping. So there's a policy in place, unlike before 2004, that says rehabilitation, guys. That is why today, when you apply for a mining right, you ought to tell the department, how are you going to rehabilitate? If you don't explain that, you don't get a permit, because you have not demonstrated the agility and the willingness that you won't mine and leave. So the coal guys are doing it very well. They mine, rehabilitate, mine, rehabilitate. So so that the land can be used for something else immediately. So the policy is working, because now you mine, rehabilitate, you mine, rehabilitate. So so far I would say some of the policies are not working. Where I think there is a gap is that the department knew that when mines leave, they are not leaving because they've exhausted the resources underground. They are leaving because it's no longer financially viable for them as a big company to mine these resources. Let me give you an example. If a turnover of a company was 50 billion, and then the resources left can give them 20 billion, big companies leave because it's no longer financially viable for them, because they are obsessed with profits. But what should have happened was that what we call artisanal miners, small-scale miners, should have been given the opportunity to say, guys, here is a mine. Here are the rules, regulations. Go and mine. Understand the pillars. understand that there's a mine operating next door, a legitimate mine with 4,000 workers per shift. Don't tamper with 1, 2, 3. So mine within the law. And there are people who are willing to do that. But I don't think our laws, well, we have the policy, but I don't think it's implemented to an extent that I would want. I did mention when we started that I think the surface ones, we should have made tremendous progress on them, because they are not as complicated as this one. It's just Tepo who is mining on a land or on a permit that is not belonging to you. It's easy to resolve it, because you say to the guy who has a permit, why are you not mining? And there's a rule in MPRDA that says use it or lose it. So that one who is not using it, take it from him, give the person who is willing to use it, so that you stop calling them as a mazama. You call them either artisanal miner or small scale miner. So they mine freely. So taking these ones out, we must be ready with these ones to go and mine safely, trained, registered, hopefully being South African, if not South African, but legally in the country, so that we know who is mining and where are they taking the gold and the products outside. The third point that I see a gap on is that, I discovered that it's only South Africa that has a problem or has a law of handling precious metals like gold. If you were to be found with a brick of gold, you are going to jail because you don't have a license to handle that. In other countries, a person can walk with a gold. So the trick here is, again, for the state, I think through the president, to lobby other countries to say, guys, regulate your precious metals. The handling of it must be licensed, because our country is facing a deep-seated problem of illicit gold, which is taken to your countries, by the way. There's sophistication on how to take it out, but once it's out, that's where they make money. And it is going out. So a coordinated way of following the money until where it's going would really work for South Africa. But South Africa can't make laws for other countries beyond its boundaries, but it can lobby other countries for them to have similar laws that the country has. So those are the policy strengths and the policy gaps that I think are there.
And Chair, finally, what message then would you like to send to South Africans about the importance of the committee's work in ensuring a well-regulated and accountable mineral and petroleum sector, and also encouraging those that are within these sectors to report crime and not partake in it? What are your final words?
I'll have probably 3 things.
Okay.
The first one is that South Africans must love their country, must be patriotic. Those people who are working at Home Affairs, they must know that when they give somebody a document unlawfully, that person, or allow them to come without a document, that person will commit crime, and the country will not find that person because they are nowhere to be found. They don't exist, basically. So you first and foremost have got to have South Africans patriotic and not love money more than their country, illicit money more than their country. If they can love their country, it will stop them from allowing people to come into the country unlawfully. The second one is that we went to the UK last term. We had this headache of the economy that is not growing, and the mining and the petroleum sector are I would say, the panacea of economic growth in every country. I had expected the UK parliamentarians to tell us that, guys, close the coals, close everything. One thing they said very strongly to us is that tell your government to have a budget to deal with highly funded, faceless NGOs because they are stopping economic progress in your country. And I said, budget? They say, yes, we reserve a legal budget to deal with those guys, because when we discover oil, we drill. In fact, we frack. You guys have discovered the largest deposit in the world. And then you are told no fracking. Fracking can be done safely. And we went to a professor that side who said fracking can be done safely so that you grow your economy. So I would say my committee do want economic growth, and I so wish that government can do something about these NGOs, tackling them.
Yes.
And of course NGOs are important to keep government in check, but let's know them. Let's know who funds them. What interest, because once you know who funds them, you will know what interest is there. Is it for the good of the country or to just sabotage the growth of the country? The last one is simple.
Yes.
I have an open door policy. Anyone who has an issue must write to the office. I will respond. If they need a meeting with the committee, I always ask the committee if possible we meet them or I meet them. But there's no time where somebody can write to us and we don't respond. Now, what I'm calling the public to do is that when we give you a negative response, because you ask us to ask the department what is happening there, and if the department gives us a legal account of what is happening and you happen to be on the wrong or you have not complied, don't call us useless because you have lost the case. You have asked us to deal with an issue that you thought you have been treated unfairly. We follow it up, and it happens you are on the wrong. Accept it.
Yes.
So people must write. We deal with it, but they must be prepared to accept the outcome. We even tell the department that you, department, when we write to you about an issue, you must not expect that the committee will just take your response and leave it there. We'll interrogate your response, and you must be in a position to satisfy us that you have not done anything wrong. And when you have done something wrong, accept it, acknowledge it, and rectify your mistakes, and give what is due to a person that is due to them.
Thank you so much for making the time, Chair.
Thank you very much.
And that was Mr. Mahlaule, the chairperson of the Portfolio Committee on Mineral and Petroleum Resources, providing valuable insights into the committee's crucial role in holding the department accountable for ensuring stability within the sector and tackling the issue of illegal mining, or zamazamas, that has mining communities across the country seeking answers and tangible solutions. Now, for more information on the work of Parliament and the Portfolio Committee on Mineral and Petroleum Resources, visit our website at www.parliament.gov.za. To stay informed about Parliament's engagements, follow, like and subscribe on all social media networks at Parliament of RSA, and have your say by joining the conversation and sharing your views on the issue of illegal mining in South Africa. After all, it is your Parliament, your voice, your future. Thank you for watching Parliament TV. I am Tepa Mori. Take care.